Numbers still climbing, so we're just going to wait one more moment to make sure everyone is in the Zoom webinar who would like to be here before we get started. Looks pretty steady now. As soon as I said that, it's steady. Well, welcome and good afternoon. My name is Summer Rothrock, serve as the parent and family liaison. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm excited to welcome you to our second webinar for the spring semester, all about the Career Center. This webinar is being recorded and the Q&A is open. So if you have questions that you'd like us to ask our panelists at the end of the webinar, please pop them in the Q&A. If there are things that we can resource for you directly, I will respond back directly to those. But I am really excited to welcome my colleagues, Allison and George from the Career Center, to talk to us a little bit about the resources in the Career Center and how, as parents, families, and support systems, you can encourage your student to utilize those resources. Allison?
Hi there. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Summer. Welcome, everyone. My name is Allison Kavaloukas. I'm the Assistant Director for Operations here in the Career Center, and I've been with the University of Pittsburgh Career Center since 2012 and at Pitt for 20 years, not counting time as an undergraduate student. I have 2 degrees from Pitt, and I'm really excited to talk about our career content with you today. But before that, I want to make sure you get a chance to meet our Executive Director, George.
Everyone, my name is George Amprechum. I joined the department in September of last year as the Executive Director. It's a pleasure meeting you all. Looking forward to engaging with you. My experience has been all over the place, but I am from Ghana and I moved to the US sometime last year and I took up this role. It's a pleasure meeting you all. I know I don't get to see you all yet, but I hope to engage with you.
And George is invited to jump in with anecdotes, questions, and anything else we have to talk about as we dive into this session. So I want to let everyone know from the start that we did get questions that people asked in advance, and we will cover those, and we will certainly stick around as long as needed at the end to answer any questions that you post to the Q&A. So feel free to do that, and hopefully we'll cover a lot of them as we go. So as we jump in, I want to tell you a little bit about our Career Center team. We are a really amazing group of 26 professionals who are experienced in this space of working with undergraduate students. On the list, you'll see a list of some of the many things that we personally as staff experienced when we were undergraduates. We studied abroad, we had internships, some attended their career centers, some never went to their career centers. We took out loans. We struggled with neurodiversity. So we have staff who really are familiar with and composed in some of the same scenarios your students might be experiencing. We also, at where we are now, are multi-generational. We have everything from, a brand new 2023 graduate on our team to baby boomers and near retirees. We are ethnically diverse. We are gender diverse. We represent having lived in at least 20 US states and 15 countries. That's not traveled, that's lived in. We have fluency in 11 languages, and we represent at least 30 universities from places where we've attended or worked. So we do have a really broad and diverse background. But a lot of our staff came from at some point working in industry. And here you see a list of some of the many industries that we represent with a little bit more perhaps technical understanding and recruitment experience when it comes to areas outside of higher education and outside of the sort of hiring and mentoring and counseling space. So we are a really diverse group of staff, and we are excited. There was a strike of lightning outside my window. I haven't seen that in months. But we're really excited to welcome you all here, and there's the thunder, and to get to know our team. But just to see how, I don't want to be a boring presenter who has, a flow chart, but I just want you to see how we break out, because it's going to help you to understand what we're talking about a little bit more. George obviously leads our administrative team and all the support we need to keep so many wheels turning at the same time. Ryan on the left side is our associate director who manages and works with all of our professional career consultants. These consultants are divided up and sort of specialized by portfolio, which is generally a concentration of similar or like fields and majors. And they are also generalists when it comes to resume reviews, interview support, networking, and things like that. So everyone on this team helps to cover, drop-ins for any student who may pop in, as well as the full, deep, more intense support that you might get for a specific major. Marie in the middle is our assistant director for experiential learning, and she oversees 2 full-time consultants. So we have a 3-person experiential learning team. It's nearly unheard of, even at schools our size or larger, to have 3 people completely dedicated to helping undergraduates earn their first experiential learning, whether it's internship, research, clinical, volunteering, whatever it is, this team is here to support it, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Sharon Mickens is our Associate Director for Employer Relations, and in that she leads a team that's combined of employment development specialists who are our outreach arm to employers and recruiters from every sector. We also have an alumni student programs coordinator who is really our bridge between the work that we do and the alumni who are out in the field as either networking contacts, professionals, recruiters. She is our bridge to all of that, including our partner with the Alumni Association. And then we have an employer relations coordinator who's helping with keeping it all together, but also supporting all of the asks that come to our office for wanting to post a job, wanting to recruit a student, and making sure employers know what and how to get that information into students' hands. And then in my role, I actually served as I served in the experiential learning capacity for about 10 years. So I'm excited that were questions about that and can certainly answer them. But now I'm an assistant director. So I oversee our special events area, our data coordination, and our marketing and communications for all of the functions of the office. So this is a large staff for a career center, but we aren't isolated and we aren't alone. We also have student workers helping at the front desk with events and operations. We have a career closet where students can borrow professional attire, and we have 1 to 2 student workers at any time who help to manage that. We have more support for the employer relations assistant and managing Handshake. We have 4 career ambassadors who are undergraduate students who are trained to review resumes and support students with basic career development questions here for it. And we also have a graduate student assistant and 2 graduate interns who are studying counseling and higher education and who support the efforts of the career development team. We currently also have 2 graduate researchers who are helping us to do assessments on the skills of our students and their engagement with our department so that we can just keep getting better and just get more accustomed to every student's needs and experiences. And on top of that, we have the added benefit of having over 200 staff and faculty from across the institution who we've trained to be career champions so that they are prepared for conversations that come up when they happen to have students in their offices, students in their classrooms who want to talk about these pieces so that they're ready for it. It's not to replace the work that we are doing, but so that it's more people understand the resources we provide to students and how to really drive those conversations. We also have partnerships with offices around the university with things you can imagine, the obvious alumni relations, academic advising, other resource centers. But we also are really great partners with schools, colleges, institutes, centers, philanthropy, regional campuses. We meet together with them. We do a lot with them. International services, study abroad, new student programs. Many of you, I would anticipate, are parents of newer students, and we work with new students just as much as we do, from the admissions process completion all the way through to graduation. We're here for it. We are not alone, and we are excited to have this many partners supporting us in bringing resources and programs to our office. But it is overwhelming, but we're here for it. We're excited to be with parents and families who want to support us. So we're going to go through kind of the what we do, and I've broken it down to cover career consulting, skill development, strategic networking, employer engagement, and resources. So with our career consulting, as you see, we have the 2 teams, which comes up to 12 plus 12 full-time professionals plus 3 to 7 part-times, including our career ambassadors who help with career consulting. So this type of engagement with our office is open to all of our students, and depending on their needs, they can use these appointments in many different ways. They can use it at the beginning or at any point when they're exploring and wanting to really focus time and effort into making right decisions based on their skills or traits. They may want to take an assessment. They may just want to have a discussion. It may not be about choosing a major. It may be about, do I add a second major, or is this certificate actually going to help me if I want this job down the road? So that exploration and discovery isn't just for the undeclared, undecided freshman. It's for anyone who is really genuinely undecided on what that first step or that long-term goal might be in their career. Our first point of entry for a lot of students has to do with document review. So we review resumes galore. The 10 days preceding the career fair, we reviewed 630 resumes, which is remarkable. And that's just for the spring fair. In the fall, it was even more. And the things that complement that could be cover letters, personal statements, LinkedIn profiles. Any document that is a part of this job search and application process is something that's open for us to review. And that resume might be needed for a scholarship application, or it might be needed for a leadership opportunity on campus. No matter what the purpose, we're here to help make it right and get it in the best place it could be to represent that student's strengths and skills. We also have, as you saw, the consultants are broken into specific portfolios. We have a pre-law advisor. We have someone who works specifically with science, with engineering and tech students. So students can request their appointments based on that, and knowing that they want to go deeper in those areas, they've made some decisions and they want more support that's unique to that field. They can use these appointments to really build a relationship with a career consultant so that when opportunities present themselves, they might be, quicker to be in the know, or they're, added to a newsletter potentially of, students they met with to get word about opportunities, events, alumni coming to campus and things like that. Experiential learning is generally one of the hottest topics around, and our experiential learning consultants are here to help students no matter what type of experience they're looking for. And I would add to this could even include student employment and summer jobs, but they're here to help with any type of experience and no matter when it is. So whether it's during the semester, part-time for academic credit right here on campus with a campus department or a local business, or abroad, or in your hometown over a summer, we're here to help with any of it. While we certainly have tools and resources and are directing employers to post opportunities in one specific central place, that is not the limit to where we're going to support a person with their search. If we need to, I remember with one student who lived in a really obscure place, we got out Google Earth and we're finding companies that were popping up within a reasonable drive from home, and use that as a starting point for where to look for potential networking contacts before that search began. So we're here for it. No matter where someone is looking, these consultants are here to support them and do all of the work to get them ready to apply. We also obviously support graduate and professional school processes. So whether it's the decision-making process, we host a law fair every year. We have partners with all of our graduate schools on campus and certainly other schools. We support a teacher education fair that happens every year in the region. We are here to support any aspect of that process, from decision-making to just getting all of those applications in a row, providing resources. We have partnerships with Kaplan for test prep opportunities and things like that. So we are the place to discuss those things. And then obviously that career piece at the end, choosing employers, how to choose a company that shares the same values as you, how to network strategically into that space, how to interview, how to negotiate a salary. We support all of that, and one-on-one consulting is for a lot of students, the best way to really tap into the student's unique scenario, their unique skill set, and all of the resources we can provide to match that for them. The second thing that we do, which comes in many forms, is help students with developing their skills. And when an employer is looking at a resume, they're certainly looking at the experiences that they had, but what they're really drilling down to are what skills did the student gain from that? Which skills can we assume will be easy for them to learn based on what they're bringing to the table, what they've taken the initiative to learn and do in practice already. And these skills that are listed here are the National Association of Colleges and Employers career competencies. And these are understood nationwide and vetted and voted on by employers as the top and most important skills they really expect every college graduate to have a strength in upon graduating. So we want students to understand that these skills are necessary, that they can be learned, they need to be practiced, and through our programming and through our resources, we're going to help students, whether through those one-on-one appointments or workshops or broader events. We're here to help them understand where they lie in these different skill areas, where they need to work, what they're getting out of academics, and what they might need to do outside the classroom to be among the most desired candidates at the point of any application process, whether it's for internships or graduation. A big piece of that is teaching them how to talk about it and know that it's important to present these skills on resumes, and not just the tasks that were completed, but the skills gained from doing it. So this is really, really important to us and is making us really well connected with the student body, knowing that we care about this for each individual student. We also help and support with strategic networking. So we did get a question about how can students use alumni connections for job help. In the same way they can use any connection for job help. But the great thing about Pitt alumni is Pitt alumni are working across the globe in every state and have already walked the same walk. And they are able to really work to establish strong relationships with Pitt alumni through a number of programs that we offer. So we help certainly on the front end with helping students understand who do they already know. There's no student group I've talked to about networking with where I haven't said your two most coveted groups of people that you already have in your network are your friends' parents and your parents' friends. And a lot of those people just sort of come and go in your life. But if you start to think about your friends' parents from home and your parents' friends and how they are all the center of their own networks and how they are functioning in their communities and how they have families and they have jobs and they have, potential supervisors or opportunities for hire. Start thinking about that group of people and you realize you've already started networking. And then you start to track those things in LinkedIn and you're moving right along. We help students to get comfortable with breaking the ice, making new connections, having an elevator pitch when they need it, like at fairs and networking events. We help them to practice that networking with their faculty and staff relationships because these are people who are being trained to help you and whose networks are generally available to you for even more support. But when it comes to Pitt alumni, we have really highly developed programs that students can take advantage of. Here in the Career Center, we host alumni in residence, which is a group at any given term, it could be 10 to 15 alumni who are professionals in a variety of fields who host office hours so students can schedule appointments with them for a resume review or a conversation about their industry or mentoring. The Pitt Commons platform, and they also host lunch and learns and info sessions and talk about some of the deeper topics that have to do with career development. The Pitt Commons mentoring platform is provided by the Provost's Office and the Alumni Association, and it takes the broad LinkedIn network of 200,000 Pitt alumni that you could find in LinkedIn and narrows it down to alumni who are specifically volunteering and saying that they want students to contact them, they want to provide support to students, they're willing to talk about their careers, their pathways, and engage students in their own personal network. So Pitt Commons is a great platform that's available to all students. And if any of the parents here are alumni, you too can create profiles in Pitt Commons and be accessible to students. We also host networking events at least once a month. We seem to have an industry specific networking event where we engage students, give them a chance to talk to perhaps a few employers and recruiters, but more so alumni and professionals in the field, so that they can start to get to know and have conversations about what that work will be like and how to get there. And we also host alumni and intern panels. And there's also a platform called Ask Pitt Alumni, which is an opportunity that's promoted on campus. And March is going to be a heavy promotion month. There are contests in place and ways to win prizes for posting any question you have to Pitt Alumni. And if you just Google Ask Pitt Alumni, you'll get right to it and see how easy it is for students to get pose a question. And then the system is reaching out to all of us alumni who are in there, and it's targeting those who probably have the right answers and connecting the student to that alum for direct feedback and follow-up and conversations. It's really, really cool. And we've seen it be extremely effective. And then with any networking, all the beauty of connecting with people is great, but unless you can effectively communicate in those conversations and follow up and show your gratitude, it's not worth anything. So making sure students know how important that is in any networking that they're doing is really, really an important core piece of us teaching them the importance and value of networking. Also, as you saw, we have a whole team dedicated to employer engagement, and we can bring employers to campus for nearly any reason. And great now that we also are able to take students to employers, either virtually or in person. So we have shadow opportunities for students, we have site visits, but nearly every employer that we work with is engaged in our Handshake platform. There are two takeaways for students after any presentation, and it's knowing Career Central and Handshake. Handshake is where any employer who reaches out wanting to post an opportunity for students is directed to post it here. It is free and very easy for them to do. And then they also have the option of using that as their recruitment software. So students can apply directly in the site for these opportunities. They can filter by major and region and virtual and part-time and paid and unpaid. They can filter by all of those things so that they can get directly to valued opportunities. But it's also a place where students who have the savvy and the will to do so can network directly with recruiters in the system. They can certainly find them and try to locate them in LinkedIn, but they are already there willing to be contacted right in Handshake. Employers also come to campus and virtually host information sessions. They do on-campus interviews right here on our floor. We had our one of two major career and internship fairs just a few weeks ago, where we had over 150 employers come to campus actively recruiting. I think we had like 95 were recruiting for full-time positions, and close to 95% were recruiting for full-time positions, and close to 70% were recruiting for interns. And that is really fantastic to know that just as many employers are coming to campus for our interns as they are for those full-time seekers. Employers will also be invited to host resume reviews or mock interviews. They have skills workshops. They host site visits where we might take, on Friday, we're taking a group of students to Acrisure Stadium to meet with both the stadium and the Pittsburgh Steelers to get an opportunity to have a site visit and talk to human resources there. And then in May every year, we have employer site visits in New York, DC, and Philadelphia, where a lot of students live and want to work, where there's opportunities to engage in person at those events in those cities. So all sorts of employer engagement opportunities, which leads to positive networking and hopefully eventually hiring. And then the last big piece of what we do has to do with providing students resources. And really that one-on-one appointment that a student could have, whether it's through a drop-in or scheduling with their career consultant, is also going to help students to understand which resources we have that make the most sense for them. careercentral.pitt.edu is our student-facing website, and this is where we want students to spend time and to realize that any resource we're investing in for you or that we vetted for you can be found here. And they can navigate it any number of ways. They can navigate it under who we serve by getting specific resources that might tie to an affinity that's, a personal affinity of theirs, whether they're a woman or LGBTQIA plus or an adult learner. There are special resources curated for those populations under who we serve. We also offer all of the resources sorted and filtered based on really what sort of career community a student might fall in under. Are they going the nonprofit route? Are they specifically healthcare? Are they engineering or tech? Whatever that might be, we've kind of broken out all of, rather than listing the majors, because not everything that students can do is major specific, we've broken out into the broader categories of industry where students can find employers, they can find job postings, they can find alumni to network with, and resources, blogs, and articles that are really going to support them based on these communities. And certainly the direct student may want to go straight to information about resumes or interviews or skill development. We also filter, and you can sort the site that way as well. This is also a place where you can learn about our upcoming events, and each of these pages has a curated list of resources unique to those students. Everything that we do is somehow, one way or another, categorized and listed in Handshake, not just those job and internship postings, but all of our events, all of our appointments, scheduling, everything takes place in Handshake. And you'll see links at the top of Career Central. 2 of the 3 go straight to Handshake, one for just going straight to the homepage and another straight to that appointment scheduling button. So it's all integrated together here. We also invest in some software to make sure that students have access to important resources, even when we're outside of the workday, when our Career Center staff can't be there to help you. VMock is a really intuitive resume review software, bordering on AI, really helping students to improve their resume score, to make it skills-based, but also to make it so that it will pass the test whenever they submit resumes to online portals with applicant tracking software. Big Interview is similar and gives students a chance from the comfort of their own home to practice their interview skills, and they can select interview options that are unique to a job type or an industry. Going Global is an amazing resource for students who want to work, intern, or go abroad. And it's a really great way to understand the cultural fluency needed in order to be in a professional setting in a different place, but it comes with terrific job listings and all sorts of resources for students making that choice. And Interstride is a similar resource for international students who are looking to work here in the United States for both OPT and CPT opportunities. Pitt Commons, as I mentioned, is the Alumni Association's tool for connecting students with alumni and giving them the platform and space to do it directly. And LinkedIn Learning is something the institution is paying for so that all students have the added components of learning modules for, if you haven't been in LinkedIn Learning, everything you can imagine in the world. It will teach them how to use computer software, how to refine a skill. It's not going to teach them recipes of any kind. It's not that. It really is a professional database of learning modules for students and professionals of any level. So there are beginner options, there are really intense options, and there are some that are actually going to lead to certification that could be then validated by being posted on that person's LinkedIn profile, which is starting to grow in interest to employers who are looking at profiles. So highly valued resource that students will lose access to when they're not students anymore. So we encourage them to take advantage of things like that in downtime, especially during winter and summer breaks. Outside the classroom curriculum is a great partner of ours here in Student Affairs, but it is a way for students to build on their skills and track all of their engagement at the university by marking off essentially what they do as they go through the Pitt experience, from meeting with a career consultant or attending a career fair to, going to an information session about study abroad, engaging in a networking event, and all sorts of social and fun things that have that communication and leadership component built into it, but it isn't necessarily what attracted the student to the program in the first place. So the outside the classroom curriculum is a great complement to really being able to look back on the experiences they had and see what skills they gained through things that may not have even been the internships and the student worker positions, but really enhance their resume with those experiences potentially. And what is the impact of all of this? So we have a data coordinator who's charged with assessing, collecting and assessing data for the work that we do. And what you'll see here is in his highest function, he has to collect data of from our graduating students to see what they're doing after graduation. And what you'll see here, and we're excited to report, is a trend of growth of really great on a great scale. So in 2020, we had a 94% placement rate after college, which is really successful outcomes that we'll define in just a second. So 94% of our graduating class with 71% reporting. We saw that in both 2019 and 2020. 94% had a great outcome and were doing what they wanted to be doing after graduation, which in and of itself is a fantastic placement rate for a school research institution of our size. In 2021, we went up to 97% for that placement rate, and working hard to stay strong at that 71% response rate. And then we've started to see even more growth. We have 12% more reporting last year than the previous year. And we're hovering right around that above 80% for this new class, with now a record high, institution high, 98% of students who've secured some type of placement after graduation. And what that means is the breakdown is that 65% are working, 32% are continuing education, 1% is in military, and less than 1% is in volunteering. And by volunteering, we're talking about a formal volunteer program comparable to the Peace Corps or AmeriCorps or something like that, with just 2% who are still seeking and have not found opportunities out of that 82%. And this is significant and phenomenal, and we're really excited about these results. There is a Success After Pitt page on the Career Center's institutional website where you can dig deeper and actually see the details and do filters based on major and school, and learn more about these opportunities. The 2023 information will be posted online in the next month, but right now you can see the past few years if you'd like to look at a dashboard version of this data. But we're excited at the great impact we're having. We're very excited about it. And we think that a lot of the things that we listed earlier are contributing to the success of our students who are already bright and wonderful to begin with. But 86% of students surveyed in a Strata and Gallup poll 2 years ago reported that getting a better job represented their decision to enroll in a specific college. And we take that seriously here. We want students to get a return on this tremendous investment that they're making, not just with their treasure, but with their time. And we want to make sure that they end up in a place where they want to be and that they know is a great launch point for where they want their career to grow. And we're here for it, and we're here to support it in any way that we can. I listed a lot of things that we do as a team, but we are always looking to grow and expand and provide even more strategic resources to our students. So as a parent, if you learn of something that you want us to know about, we're here for it. We want to learn about it. We want to know more. So when should students engage? This was a question that we did get. When should students come to the internship or the office for support? And the real answer is anytime, but sort of like, what are you looking for and what do you need to get out of the experience? So if you come early in your first year, first semester, or at any point where you're in that undecided state. We can help you a lot with self-discovery, with choosing majors, making academic decisions, creating long-term timelines to help you with what it is that you want to do, and exploring careers, companies, and industries through internships and other types of experiential learning. In the last year that you're here, we obviously are ready to help more strategically with the search and application process, interviewing for those full-time opportunities, salary negotiation when it's relevant, and anything that has to do with post-grad school options. But throughout the time, whether it's early, sometime in the middle, or in that final year, we're always here to help with skill building, building your experiences, securing any type of experiential learning that you want to have, networking with alumni, professionals, faculty, our personal networks, strengthening professional communications, and improving the quality of a student's personal brand and how they share that externally with networking contacts and recruiters. So students can come anytime. I would like to encourage any first-year student to try to come at least once in their first year. You know, for many of them, this already is the second semester, so it's time, the time is great, but we make it easy so that they can just pop in any weekday and have drop-in appointments. But what I like to tell students is, we can't help you if we don't know you, okay? You know, my two bigger, sort of mantras in this business is, come to meet us so that we can help you. We cannot help you if we don't know you. And the second is, you can come anytime. You can start as early as you like, but it could be too late. So the earlier you come, the more we can help you, as Jerry might say. And then I seem to have lost a slide about where, and maybe where we are, but I had a slide describing exactly where we are. But we are located in the second floor of the William Pitt Union. We have the entire floor, and we are open for drop-in hours every day, for every weekday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So students can just pop in without an appointment and get to talk to someone about what's next for them or what questions they need to have answered. And with that, we want to add, that there are a lot of ways for parents to be involved in this process. We want you to know that we value you in this process. We anticipate and really hope that your students trust your opinions and value your advice and are talking to you about the career pieces. And we want you to really listen to what it is they're saying and know that you can always direct them to us as a resource, and be ready and open to have conversations with them about this. Be supportive when they're exploring something that might not have been the original path, and be a partner with us when you can. So that means, sharing your network with students, becoming a mentor in Pitt Commons if you're an alum, recruiting our students if you're an employer, and remembering that at any point it is the student's journey to learn through, but they're not going to do it without your support. There's something else really fundamentally important we want you to note, is that we want you, that we're in this together. We are here to bring you to the finish line of this process, being very proud of, the skills your students have gained, the experiences they've collected, and the many, many tools that are, available to them, that they've used them to their capacity, because their tuition is paying for all of it, right? We're here to help make sure that they're successful, and we want you to be our partners in the success. So we're here for it, and we're excited about it. And that concludes my formal presentation. I am going to go back to my opening slide, and pardon me for that. Oh, that was fun. And I know that some questions may lead us to go back to slides, so I just want to be able to navigate from the front on that. So I am going to now, and feel free, Summer and George, feel free to jump in and chime in with any of these, but I'm happy to answer any questions from the Q&A right now. One of the first ones that we had was, if a student has a city or field they're looking for an internship in, what kind of help can they receive? And as I said earlier, we can support a student no matter where they're looking. We will obviously start and help that student to navigate and understand how to use Handshake, but we are definitely going to help them find other resources that make sense if Handshake doesn't have the opportunities that they're looking for. We can't promise any student a particular opportunity, but we can help them if they come to us early enough to make sure that they are pursuing what they need to academically and extracurricularly to make sure they have the skills to qualify for those opportunities. So we are excited to be able to support that. Please feel free to share other questions.
Allison, I bumped a few of the questions to answer live, and I'll read
Okay.
you. And George also was able to type responses to every question, but some of them I pulled to answer live. The first one is, are the document reviews in person only? Can they be submitted electronically for feedback?
So, there are a few answers to that question. Students, when they schedule appointments with career consultants or experiential learning consultants, they can choose either virtual or in-person appointments. If a student wants to just have a virtual resume review without that interpersonal contact, we direct them to use the VMOC software to do that, where they can get up to 10 resumes reviewed per year in VMOC. So they can do it that way, but really it is better for there to be a conversation alongside that document review, because how I personally judge a resume has a lot to do with who's seeing it and what the application is for. I may want to rearrange where a certain set of experiences is higher on the page, so that is seen for one employer versus a different type of role. So not being able to answer those questions makes it a little tougher, but it can be done in the virtual space and it can be done very conveniently. And I'd like to just add that we are also available for these appointments during breaks as well. We're here most of the winter break. We're here throughout spring break and all summer long. For students who don't have time to think about this during the semester, we can work in the summer to get all their ducks in a row leading into the fall term. Great.
Thank you. We had a number of questions about major specific consultants. Provided the website link for Find Your Consultant, but noted that a number of the majors didn't have a link, and it says to do drop-in if your link for your Finding Your Consultant doesn't work. Can you talk just a little bit more about what a student would expect when they're reviewing that list and the drop-in process so they know who their resource person is?
So now that we're now fully staffed, and now that all staff are seeing appointments, we probably have to do some updates to that page. But as we have staff turnover or changes in portfolios due to, like right now, we have 2 staff who are on maternity leave. So rather than deflect those students entirely and make them feel that they don't have someone, we want them to just come to a drop-in appointment so they can talk to any staff member now and not wait. So that is the reason for that in most cases, or when we're undergoing a portfolio change and that person needs to be a little bit trained in that area, that would be why. So I would say that's probably the main reason for that. But when students do I just saw the other question pop up related to that about virtual appointments. It's generally going to be in Zoom, and the student is invited to a Zoom link for that through their appointment confirmation email.
Wonderful, thank you.
And
George-
availability in Zoom and virtual appointments during breaks is largely available virtually. If a student requested an in-person appointment on days when we're in the office, we'll absolutely accommodate that, but we make a lot more Zoom availability during the breaks for sure, including spring break in a few weeks.
Wonderful. George is answering those questions so quickly. They're
Thank
just
you,
a
George.
Q&A. That's amazing. We do have a few more minutes if anyone wants to put a question in the Q&A. Because it is a webinar, we're not able to unmute anyone. So if you were looking to speak directly, it would be best if you put that question in the Q&A.
I would also like to chime in on some questions about pre-health and pre-med students. We do work in partnership. One of the many Post-its that popped up there was the Pre-Health Resource Center. And the Pre-Health Resource Center is a resource for students who are applying to a graduate or professional program in the health sciences. So for example, if a student is pre-med, they would use that center to have a checklist of all that they need to accomplish as undergrads to be qualified for that at graduate level of admission, but also they are the office who's going to review the application and handle the application process and the personal statement reviews and anything that has to do with applying to that graduate program. Those students still use our office for resume reviews, for support in finding research opportunities, volunteering opportunities, clinical internships, whatever that might be. They still can use us, and we direct them to make sure that they know when they need to start to do that outreach to the Pre-Health Resource Center. And it's going to vary from student to student, depending on the classes that they've had, the grades that they might have, the skills and experiences they've already accumulated, whether or not they need to go there, but it's generally not a first stop in the freshman year. Those resources become much more valuable when it's time to start considering the application process for those graduate programs. Scrolling through. So there's a question about business and finance. The business and finance, one of the many career offices at the university. We are central and we help with all undergraduates and many of the graduate programs. But the College of Business Administration has their own career center, and students are directed to and encouraged to meet with the faculty and staff in the College of Business Administration for their career appointments. We certainly can support them in some ways. We have fairs and events and opportunities and networking opportunities that are open to all students, as does the College of Business Administration. But for specific career support for especially upper class students who are applying to roles in finance, accounting, human resources, and the like, they are directed to work with the College of Business Administration Career Office. Anything else? Clinical research programs. Research opportunities are available at varying times, depending on the lab, depending on the staff, depending on the leaders of those research programs. We encourage students to network early and often with faculty members so that and advisors so that they can learn more about those opportunities, because the reality is that a lot of research positions are never posted anywhere, because the average research function doesn't necessarily have grant funding to support human resources support with staffing their teams. They're counting on really great students to surface by reaching out to them directly. So we help students to navigate that process, and the earlier the better. There's certainly not a hard set deadline for anything, but it is our recommendation for any job placement or internship placement or research placement for students to be thinking at least 2 semesters in advance. So if you are interested in something for the summer, it's not too late to find something for this coming summer, but to have the maximum opportunities available to you, you should be looking at making sure your resume is intact and that you're officially networking and starting your search in the fall semester before it. You can keep on searching, and new opportunities can be posted as late as April or May even for that summer. But to have the maximum number of opportunities, you want to be thinking at least 2 semesters ahead. And if it has to do with the government, it should be a full year ahead. I had students just go through onboarding in February for internships that will be summer of 2025 with some government agencies that have a lot of clearance checking to do. So the timeline could be different for every student, and that's where the one-on-one support comes in and where the career consultants can really offer a lot of help. We will definitely take a look at the Find Your Consultant page today and freshen that up so that anyone looking at this later and looking for that resource on careercentral.com can access it. And we encourage you to direct your students to careercentral.com for any needs that they may have. The LinkedIn Pitt Mentor Group specific for career interests. There is a, we hope that all Pitt alumni are connected to the university, so they're accessible through the university's LinkedIn page. There are some school-specific groups, but the career interest group that we are trying to direct students to is not just in LinkedIn, but connected to a lot of LinkedIn profiles is Pitt Commons, because the difference there is some of the, a lot of the Pitt alumni in the career group might actually be career seekers and not necessarily potential mentors. So we want students to go to Pitt Commons and look for mentors there, because these are people who've already raised their hand and volunteered. A lot of the other Pitt groups, it may be more of a professional nature that those people are gathering, and we're not sure, we won't have as high a rate of return on those outreach messages. So looking to Pitt Commons is the ideal way for a student to have a potentially curated connection with alumni who are frankly waiting to hear from them and going to be excited to support them.
So Allison, I think those are all of the questions. We are getting a couple notes. This is helpful. Thank you. Thank you for those notes to Allison. That was fantastic. This will be, oh, we've got a quick, this is very timely, but we have a quick Q&A. You mentioned a trip this Friday to Acrisure Stadium. Is that event still open?
I think it's sold out, but your student could check in Career Central or Handshake on the events tab to see whether or not there are still spaces available. They can join the wait list and potentially hear I believe there is a wait list already for it, but they can join the wait list and be notified if a space becomes open.
Timely. Thank everyone so much. Thank you, Allison and George. Thanks for our attendees. Thanks for your great questions. This was recorded. It will be uploaded in a few days to the Pitt Student Affairs YouTube channel. The webinar from last week around commencement for spring 2024 was just uploaded this morning. So that is there. We will also send that out in our newsletter, as well as to all registered participants. So we will send you that recording. But thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.